Now I'm going to show you these structures, and actually you can plot them out on your own. To me, that's the best way for you to teach yourself and to really learn it. Anything you figure out on your own, you're going to remember a lot more than if I show you or somebody else does. Remember that a power chord is the root and the fifth. So let's look at octaves. The octave of any note on the 6th string is 2 frets higher over on the 4th string. So you'd see these 2 Bs. Then here's your F sharp, the 5, so you'd see those 2 F sharps. Now if you put all that together, you get a really big power chord. You've got root 5th, root 5th. Another way to view it would be root 5th, root 5th. And it's important you see it as different clusters. And if we keep going across the neck in this diagonal fashion, left to right, from low to high, then you would have the B and the F sharp over here. So another way you might want to see is just to say, well, here's root 5th, a 2-note power chord. Here it is an octave higher. Here's an octave higher. So if I put all of that together, I could look. It's a big 6-note power chord. Any group. Notice I said any group because that's going to be very important. We've been playing adjacent string groups. Listen to the sound that I'm getting by mixing up every other string, any combination I want. Okay? Now, I'm not going to spend the whole afternoon showing you all of your power chords. That's up for you to figure it out. But working left to right from the B, that was the mapping. Now, you could stay in the same area. You'd have root, root, 5th, root. Hendrix played that a lot of times. Got a really clean sound, you know, like. So you can use your thumb, your 3rd finger, 1st and 2nd, but you can also use it in the rock. Now, hybrid picking on that might be a little tricky for you. You have a split, meaning you skip a string between your middle and ring finger. So I'm going to play along with the track and show you some of these voicings. Now, also working right to left, don't forget this great power chord. It's a wonderful power chord, and you already know it, because I know that you probably already know this particular chord. This is a G5, standard old open string G5. You're deadening the 5th string, so you have root, 5th, root, 5th, root. Well, if I re-finger that using my 4th finger and I hyperextend it to borrow those first 2 strings, 3rd finger comes over and grabs the low root. I'm still deadening that 5th string. I can now move it up the neck. You've got a huge, big 5-note power chord. Really, really nice. That's a little bit of a technical challenge to play that because you have to stretch out and hyperextend. And you don't have to play the 6th string, so you have this structure up on top. And try to link these together. Here's your B bar chord. So you say, out of that I have root, 5th, root, 5th, root. So I have, then I can link, okay, there's an octave lower. You see how I have all these different power chords that I can just voice any way I want. So let's mix it up. I'm going to play along with the track just a little bit. Then I'm going to move on to another kind of approach on this track. Now let's go to a clean sound. I'm going to change patches, put on a chorus, delay, nice clean sound, and we're going to actually change our approach. We were thinking like guitarists then, actually guitarists wearing keyboard hats, because we wanted to pluck and sound like a keyboard instead of strumming, but we had the sound of a guitarist. Now you want to sound like a keyboard, so you're going to voice things a little differently. We can actually use what you just learned, and we're going to add to it to create some color, because we haven't even established the major tonality of these chords, because we just played roots and fifths. So we have a major chord and a major chord. Now you see upon the analysis that it's a 5-4 in the key of E, so the modes you're in are B Mixolydian and A Lydian. Keep that in mind, because I'll be pulling notes out of each of those scales to add to the harmony. The first thing I'm going to talk about is just Sus2 voicings. They're open because you're not establishing this a major tonality. Take all of the power chord voicings that you just worked out and add the 2 someplace in there. So if you're looking at this, for example, there you have root 5th, root 5th. Well, all you got to do to get the 9 or the 2 is go up a whole step from the root. So there we have root 5th, 9th, 5th. it's starting to sound really cool. So I'm going to play along with the track, play a couple of examples, and then I'll break them down and show you what I'm doing. Okay, let's stop the track. You're like, wait a minute, this guy wasn't playing the B or the A over the A, threw in some Bs. Well, I'm going to show you what's going on with that. The first thing is I played some Sus2 Voicings, which are just roots, fifths, and seconds. So I had this, but notice how I actually created some motion. And I brought it back to the power chord. So here are some of your voicings. From low to high, 1, 5, 9. Then you could build on top of that. Add another 5 up in there. You could go 1, 2, 5. 2 is the same as 9, so if I use the terms interchangeably, you know what I'm talking about. Now, you could also double stop your second finger. So it's 1, 2, 5, then your 1 up on top. And any 1 could be raised up to a 2. So here you have, I didn't play that in the example, but that would be a real open voicing you could play. So I've got 1, 2, 5, 2. They're really cool because you're leaving it open for the soloist, and you're not filling up harmonically as much. Here was another one I went to. Now you already know that one probably. Here's a regular standard A chord. Pick up your third finger, you have A sus2. That's a fifth string rooted form, so that would be a B sus2, A sus2. I also used this voicing. Well, that's coming from that power chord that I showed you, and I'm just raising the third string up to the 2. So I had, and if it's too much for you to grab that much, just play that. You don't have to play the bass line. Now, it goes on and on. There was another one I used up here. Now, you already know this chord, because if you know a D chord, you know that if you pick up your second finger, that's a D sus2. So we refinger it. Your root is on the 4th string, so you move it up. So this was the B sus2, the A sus2. So that was just a quick overview of some of the voicings I used.